Good morning or afternoon, depending where you are. My name is George Whitaker, and I am a FAA Part 107 certified UAS or drone pilot. Today, I want to talk primarily to airport professionals, such as airport law enforcement, TSA, and airport management, about small unmanned aerial systems, or UAS, flying in controlled airspace around the airport or even at the airport itself.
They fly into the protected airspace around major airports.
Drones are considered unmanned aircraft systems, and the Federal Aviation Administration says they're getting more than 100 reports every month of UAS sightings.
We saw a large drone. It was off our wing maybe 50 feet.
The drone around an airport could have deadly consequences.
If it went through the windshield, it could kill the pilots.
That's why federal law creates a 5-mile bubble around airports where drones can only fly with permission. The 7 investigators discovered dangerous drone operators break that law almost 6 times a day. Records show just last year, pilots reported more than 2,100 unregistered drones in protected airspace. From the 2,122 drone reports called in last year, only 19 resulted with the pilot getting tracked down and fined. In a statement, the FAA said that's as far as they can go, adding the FAA does not impose criminal penalties. That's a question for law enforcement.
Both incidents happening at JFK Airport, as aviation experts believe this is a disaster waiting to happen.
These could have potentially deadly consequences.
There was a drone flying just on the southwest side of this abandoned airport here.
Yeah, we reported a drone over by Floyd Bennett at 1,300 feet.
Sooner or later, we're going to lose an airplane to a drone due to a collision.
I know that some of you are already saying, wait, drones can't fly within 5 miles of the airport. In my experience, there are many airport employees, TSA officers, law enforcement officers, as well as the general public that believe this. But the fact is that a UAS or drone can be flown in controlled airspace well within 5 miles of the airport or even at the airport itself. As airport professionals, whether TSA, airport authority, or law enforcement, we all have one thing in common, and that commonality is the duty to ensure that the traveling public, aircraft, as well as the airport are as safe as possible. During the next few minutes, I hope to give you a few tools that will assist you in determining the intent of a person flying a UAS or drone in controlled airspace near our airports. I believe that having an understanding of what is legal and authorized will allow focus on those who are flying unauthorized around or at our airports. In my experience as a drone pilot, I've found that persons who fly drones generally fall into one of 3 identifiable categories. Let's take a look at those now. The first category are the FAA licensed commercial UAS pilots. These individuals have studied for and passed the FAA Aeronautical Knowledge Test. Certified UAS pilots use drones for commercial purposes and are vetted through TSA. These individuals pose the lowest risk to security while flying in controlled airspace. The second category are the new or recreational flyers. This is the group of people that most of us know. This is the kid that just got the drone for Christmas, or the overconfident dad that says, "Watch this," as he flies beyond his capabilities and crashes his new drone into the windshield of the neighbor's brand new Mercedes. These individuals pose a risk mainly due to ignorance of all the new drone laws and inexperience in flying. While they generally don't intend to do harm, they pose a significant risk, especially around manned aircraft and crowds of people. The third category are criminally intent drone pilots, or CIDPs. This is obviously the smallest group, but they pose an extreme risk to aviation. These people may know the rules very well. They may be very skilled at flying, and they may have high-cost equipment that is specifically designed to carry and drop large payloads. This could be very bad news around aircraft and crowds of people. I've never personally ran into this last group of flyers, and I hope I never do. Have you ever been called to investigate someone flying a drone close to the airport? Do you know what questions to ask? Let's start with Group 1, our Part 107 certified UAS pilots, and look at some documents they will possess. These documents will help you rule them out as dangerous and/or criminal drone flyers. The first item that a Part 107 certified pilot will be in possession of is a registration for his or her aircraft. Please note that all drones over 0.55 pounds are required to register their drone with the FAA. This pilot will be in possession of a registration card. The registration card will include information such as the pilot's name, issue and expiration date, as well as the UAS certificate number. The number will be placed on the outside or under the battery compartment of the aircraft and should match the number on the registration card. Please note that the registration may be printed on standard paper and laminated. This is completely normal. The second item that a Part 107 certified drone pilot will be in possession of is a UAS Remote Pilot Certification Card. This will be a professionally printed issued card with security features. This card will have a substantial amount of information about the pilot, including the pilot's name, height, weight, nationality, etc. This card does not have a photograph of the pilot. The third item that a Part 107 certified drone pilot will have when flying in controlled airspace, such as close to or at the airport, will be an FAA Controlled Airspace Authorization. The authorization will have an authorization code and will likely be in a text on the pilot's cell phone and possibly be written in the pilot's log as well. Part 107 pilots obtain air traffic control authorization through the LANC, or the Low Altitude and Notification Capability System. Let's take a look at a short video from the FAA, which will help you get a little better understanding of what that system is all about.
Let's face it, flying a drone is fun, and it can be important for your business. But it's also a big deal when you're flying in certain areas, like controlled airspace near airports. Recognizing the need for a safe and efficient approval process to fly drones in these situations, the FAA developed the Low Altitude Authorization and Notification Capability, called LANC for short. We developed LANC to automate authorizations into controlled airspace, so we worked closely with industry partners and based it all on data sharing principles. LANC is a major step toward creating a true, operationalized, unmanned airspace traffic management ecosystem. LANC is a collaboration between the FAA and industry that allows drone pilots to request access to controlled airspace and receive a response just about instantly. Through LANC, the FAA provides several streams of data for our industry partners to leverage in their applications. Those data streams include UAS facility maps, temporary flight restrictions, notices to airmen, and special use airspace. Access to LANC is provided by FAA-approved companies called UAS Service Suppliers, or USS. These suppliers have developed desktop and mobile applications that allow drone pilots to connect to LANC and receive an FAA-approved authorization in near real time. A key advantage of LANC is that it offers drone operators more flexibility and reduces the time it takes to receive airspace authorizations to mere seconds, instead of the weeks that it used to take through the manual process. A further benefit is that LANC allows air traffic managers to see where planned drone operations will take place. The LANC experience for the drone operator is an easy-to-use app. Step 1. The FAA provides airspace data to the USS through the FAA's UAS Data Exchange. Step 2. The USS create interactive planning tools of controlled airspace up to 400 feet, based on that FAA data. Step 3. Drone pilots request airspace authorizations through the apps on their smartphones or desktop computers. Step 4. The USS sends applicants' authorization information to the FAA. Once the FAA provides an electronic acknowledgement of receipt, the USS transmits FAA authorizations to the drone pilot. This all happens in a matter of seconds. On April 30th, 2018, the FAA began a nationwide beta test deploying Lance at nearly 300 federal air traffic facilities covering almost 500 airports. The final wave of nationwide deployment was completed in September 2018. Safety is our top priority, but it's also everyone's shared responsibility. That's what Lance is all about, as we collaborate to safely and fully integrate drones into the national airspace system.
Now that we understand what credentials a Part 107 UAS pilot will have, we can talk about our largest group of flyers, the new or recreational flyers. As we discussed earlier, all UAS over 0.55 pounds are required to be registered with the FAA. So, if you are the first responder to a drone complaint at the airport, it is likely that one of these new flyers or recreational flyers will have a registration card and a drone or UAS marked with the matching registration number. This is where the similarities between a Part 107 pilot and a new or recreational user ends. New or recreational users will not be in possession of a UAS Part 107 certification card and will not have an FAA-controlled airspace authorization on their phone, as it cannot be obtained by recreational pilots at this time. These folks have no authority to fly in controlled airspace and are subject to your department or your office's regulations regarding their removal. Our third group, the criminally intent drone pilots, may show some certain behaviors that will help clue you in that they're up to no good. These individuals may have no credentials, no registration, no authorization. They may try to fly from a hidden location to avoid detection. A criminally intent pilot may be 2 or more miles away from where the drone is observed. Keep in mind that a certified drone pilot is required by the FAA to maintain visual line of sight of the aircraft that they're flying. So someone that is certified will very likely be very close to where they are flying the aircraft. A criminally intent pilot may be trying to fly at nighttime. A certified UAS pilot has to request special authorization to fly at night in the form of a waiver. Drones flown by criminally intent pilots may also be flown with the lights off to avoid detection and may have special equipment used to drop payloads. I can think of very few reasons a certified drone pilot would be dropping items around an airport. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video, and I hope that you've gained some information that may help you determine the intent and legal authority for a drone pilot to be flying on or around the airport. Also, keep in mind that, as with any new technology, the laws and regulations are changing rapidly, so it is always good to ask or review policy with the FAA. Thanks for all you do, and have a safe day.